I love your home already, and I haven't even seen it. Does that sound crazy? It's not. When we improve our surroundings, we simultaneously empower ourselves, which means every inch of space within your reach right now is an opportunity to tell the story you want to be living. Tell me that's not its own kind of wonderful. I have spent the last 15 years consulting clients and their homes through the wisdom of feng shui, intentional design, and some crystal clear communication. And you know what happens when you bring those three together? Life-changing magic. Your home is already in a conversation with you, so why not learn how to merge that awareness with some simple, straightforward, and smart action to co-create the life you want? I'm Amanda Gibby Peters, and I am here to help you learn how. Welcome to House Therapy. Offices, whether they are located in or away from your home, are spaces and places ripe for a few shui adjustments that can make a mighty big difference in your professional forecast. And since we've talked about the front door, the bedroom, the kitchen, I want to add the office to your list of power spots because this space, especially if it's where you spend significant time, has impressive influence in your life too. So before I get started, if you have not signed up for my newsletter, head over to simpleshui.com. That is simple, SHUI.com, and make that happen. You will get a free 9-tip guide for the office. And I'm sharing some of those tips here today, but there are a few in there that are so worth the read. And on that note, let's get down to business. All right, tip 1, a couple suggestions for your desk. 1, pay attention to your desk size. A too big desk will feel like you're not up for the challenges. A too small desk could put a limit on your aspirations. And if it feels like a Goldilocks situation, you're right. The goal is, quote unquote, just right. Now, if you are someone who wants to become a little more ambitious, go for a desk that feels a bit bigger than what you're comfortable with. 2, and I know we've talked about this plenty, but I like to reinforce it when the opportunity presents. Assume command position by placing your desk so you can see who is coming into your office or workspace. Now, of course, this configuration will vary depending on the room, but ideally, this means your back faces the wall or some solid piece of furniture with you facing the door, giving you full view of anyone approaching your space. And again, ideally, you wouldn't be directly in line with the door, but you will be facing it so someone can walk into your office but not run right into you and your desk. And if you need a refresher on command position, go back and listen to episode 11. Now, if command position isn't allowable, I want you to do 3 things. If you happen to face a wall, you could potentially hang a mirror. Think of it kind of like a car rear view mirror. This will let you see anyone who is approaching, which manages that subconscious of yours from feeling on high alert when you're sitting at your desk in the office. I also really encourage people facing a wall to hang imagery or art on that facing wall that opens up the space in front of you. So think a wide open road, a horizon view, something that lets you see into the distance. This will keep you from feeling like you're hitting a wall with your projects or professional ability. And go for a high back chair. Not only will this offer protection, this chair style is often referred to as an executive chair. Now, I don't know about you, but I really like the way that sounds. All right, one more tip here. If your chair hits the wall when you back up, it might feel like you're always hitting resistance or you have a hard time turning things around. So if possible, move your desk and chair so that you have a little more wiggle room. All right, now let's talk about what is happening on your desk. So if I stop by right now, how much of your desk surface would I see? How much of your desk can breathe? Too much desk clutter generates yin energy. And yin energy itself, yin qi, that's not a bad thing. But when it is overly dominant, it can foster a lot of unnecessary emotion about work. On the other hand, a clean desk, and this can simply be something that happens at the end of your workday, increases productivity and innovation. And if that's not motivating enough, guess what ritual top entrepreneurs around the world have in common? A clean desk. All right, next, I want you to plant some support. And again, I totally intended that pun. A plant on your desk shades you from getting screen burn. A plant here also absorbs some of that EMF coming off your computer. It purifies the air, which makes breathing easier, and it lowers stress levels. There are studies from Texas A&M that have concluded that plants also improve our memory retention and reduce concentration fatigue. So a few Shui favorites include orchids, a money plant, bamboo stalks, succulents, and jade plants. However, any greenery, as long as it is thriving, is going to be energy in the bank. And best of all, plants naturally keep us company. And isn't that fabulous when we need to network and mingle? Finally, I want you to keep a task lamp, if possible, on your desk to spotlight and energize important projects. Okay, on that note, let's now get into the ambiance of your office environment. And we're going to start with the easy stuff. So pay attention to bright overhead light. While this may be invigorating, even helpful getting us into hustle mode, day-long exposure is overstimulating, and overstimulation often leads to increased stress levels. So bring in lighting options, and this is a quick throwback to that task lamp I just mentioned. Remember, that task lamp, it's going to draw energy in. So think about attention and visibility. It's going to draw that energy into whatever you're working on. Also, if possible, give yourself due recognition. Hang your awards, your accomplishments, your accolades in the middle of the back wall of your office. This is your fame zone, fancy face. So give your glory some easy gazing. If you need to give yourself a lift energetically, look for a visual reminder. So any imagery that suggests upward and outward movement is going to activate the energy of transformation. So art or photography of the sun, a fire, even flowers would work really well. Images of something soaring like birds would work well too. Essentially, anything taking off represents our energy and endeavors taking off too. So, maybe even a private jet. All right, when it comes to career energy, moving water represents prosperity, abundance, and the idea and the company of that steady flow. So you can bring this help in with actual water, fresh flowers if you're changing the water regularly. It could be a tabletop fountain, even your coffee maker. Or you can bring in the imagery of moving water. But do yourself a favor and make sure that the water looks like or seems to be moving into your space. If the water flows toward the door, well, so will all that potential opportunity. A few final thoughts, and these are more corrections that are worth making to really give your efforts room to rally. So 1, avoid keeping heavy boxes or piles of stuff on the floor. Otherwise, you will weigh business and prospects down. Simple enough, yeah? So here's a true story. Years ago, I had boxes of books and supplies for workshops that I was going to be teaching that were sitting on the floor, and they'd been there for weeks. I decided one day I was going to clean everything up, and I just wanted to give my space a resuscitation. So I vacuumed, dusted, got everything off the floor, got everything organized, and I kid you not, 9 client requests came in that following week. 9. So this advice has some bite. All right, going along with keeping the floor clean, it extends to shelving and drawers and surfaces. And what I mean here is just make sure that nothing feels tight or crammed in the space. We really want energy to move freely and without feeling like it's hitting obstacles. Also, is there color present? Color itself is vibrant, and every hue contributes its own unique wattage of life force, which again helps so much in improving our moods and mental well-being. In fact, whenever I get invited to teach a workshop, inevitably two questions or topics are going to come up. How can I improve my money story or situation? And or how can I improve how I feel or my mental well-being? And color is one of those options that can be incredibly mood altering and motivating. And where offices can be so sterile and cold or simply blah, a little color here can change the way a space and its people feel in a snap. All right, I also want you to pay attention to pointed corners. Think 90-degree angles. Now, this is a little more of an advanced consideration, but I totally think you can handle it. Sharp corners can become problematic if or when the point is directed somewhere we sit or spend a lot of time. So you might have a hard time staying in this spot to get work done. You might notice that you're always feeling uncomfortable or restless. You might feel like you're always under attack. If you find any of these points directed at you and the correlation fits, either move the culprit until it isn't pointing at you or soften the point. Now, the way I usually do this is with like a hanging plant that kind of drapes over the point. I might use a childproof bumper to soften the point, or sometimes you can layer a piece of tapestry, a cloth, across a piece of furniture so that it kind of softens that point. Your choices are going to totally be dependent on what that piece of furniture is. Finally, if you do office out of the home and in another location, Shui both. I can't tell you how many times I find splinters being held in place at secondary spaces. So if someone works from home and occasionally goes into the office, or vice versa, they work in the office and occasionally work from home, revitalizing both close to, if not at the same time, is like turning the soil in all the garden beds. It will promote the idea that life in both spaces has the ample resources and nutrients, as well as adequate space to grow, thrive, and succeed. And just like that, it's another episode wrap. A million thanks for being here and listening today. And if you're not quite ready for this conversation to end, come find me on the gram. I'm at Amanda Gibby Peters, or grab a copy of my book, Simple Shui for Every Day, available at Amazon and Bookshop and anywhere you get your books. And if you want to work with me, check out simpleshui.com for all the ways we can make that happen. Cheers to marvelous week, sweets, and I hope to see you back here in a week. Until then, give that house of yours some big love for me.